So you've been told you have type 2 diabetes. Now what? Type 2 diabetes can be overwhelming at first, but you can do this. And not only can you do this, but Cyrus and I are here to help you thrive. That's why in this video, you'll learn what to do immediately after you're diagnosed, how to build an action plan, the key areas to learn about, and the most important tip to remember. This is a key tip. So you're gonna wanna stay all the way through. And in this video, we're gonna cover just 5 simple steps that can make a huge difference. I'm Robbie Barbero. I've been living with type 1 diabetes for over 22 years. And my co-founder Cyrus has been living with type 1 diabetes for over 20 years. Cyrus and I have been coaching people to manage and reverse type 2 diabetes for decades using a simple, easy to understand approach. And so what we do here is we help connect the underlying cause of blood glucose fluctuations, which is insulin resistance. So by addressing that in our own lives as type 1s and helping you address that in your life as a person living with type 2, we can achieve extraordinary results, which in many cases is complete reversal of type 2 diabetes. So let's get right to it. When you receive a new diagnosis of type 2 diabetes, it can be tempting to try to run and fix it, all right? You're gonna go into this fix it mode, I gotta do something, and we are here to remind you that it's okay to take a short time to process this new information. If you have just been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, you are not alone. This isn't an impossible diagnosis, and we're here to help you thrive. So before we talk about what you should do about your diabetes, here are a few things to do with your new diagnosis. First, give yourself time to process. Give yourself permission to put down the research and let yourself embrace this new diagnosis. You are not a diabetic. You are a person living with diabetes, and you can do something about it. This diagnosis does not define you, and it doesn't mean your life is over. Instead, it means you are beginning a new adventure and changing some of your lifestyle habits, and this can be a gigantic blessing in disguise. This is a perfect time to reach out to people who genuinely care for you. Talk to friends and family about how this makes you feel and let yourself feel those feelings. There will be a time for doing things about this type 2 diabetes diagnosis, but it is important to start by focusing on letting yourself process it emotionally with people who care for you. The next step is to make sure you join our free Facebook group. This is a very large group that is dedicated to supporting and encouraging others who are living with all forms of diabetes. Go ahead, join the Facebook group and search through, and you will see a variety of conversation about issues related to living with diabetes, along with fun recipes and success stories to get you motivated for where you're headed. This is also a fantastic place to ask questions and form connections to others who are on the same journey as you. Step 2 is to confirm the diagnosis. Once you've taken a moment to process, your next step should be to go and get a C-peptide test. The C-peptide test is an important blood test that determines whether or not your body is still producing a sufficient amount of insulin and can be a vital indicator about whether you have insulin-dependent type 2 diabetes, non-insulin dependent type 2 diabetes, or potentially type 1 and type 1.5 diabetes. Determining which type of diabetes you have massively influences the long-term treatment, the overall approach you're going to take, and your potential to fully reverse type 2 diabetes. Having this test done can help you to better understand your overall health, can help you better understand the type of diabetes you're living with, and this is essential information. We are strong proponents of the C-peptide test and actually call it the most important blood test for people living with all types of diabetes. It is essential. So let's talk about a few important facts about the C-peptide test. What's it going to tell you? Well, an accurate C-peptide measurement will provide you and your doctor with a quantitative assessment of the ability of your pancreatic beta cells to secrete insulin. This information allows you to see what type of diabetes you have and understand what chance you have of fully reversing type 2 diabetes without the need of other medications and exogenous insulin. You may be wondering, is it really that important? The answer is yes. If we haven't made it clear enough, knowing your C-peptide levels is essential, and it can determine the entire course of your diabetes treatment. You want to get it sooner rather than later, and it's going to allow you to differentiate between whether you have insulin sufficiency or insulin deficiency. And especially If your C-peptide is quite high, it's quite motivating because you at that point you're like, okay, wow, I have plenty of insulin being produced inside my own body. I just need to make it work more efficiently, okay? So there's a lot of key information you're gonna get from this test. Although it is possible to make an educated guess about what type of diabetes you're living with, a C-peptide blood test gives you and your doctor a much more accurate insight into your diabetes health. So where can you get this test done? It's quite easy to get your C-peptide level tested. It's an inexpensive blood test that you can request from your doctor, or you can order the test for yourself online and schedule to have your blood drawn at a local LabCorp or Quest walk-in facility. So now you've got the roadmap for understanding your unique diabetes situation. It's time to talk about an action plan. And that's where we specialize here at Mastering Diabetes. You'll learn a lot in the next part of this video, but if you want all the latest, make sure to hit the subscribe button and then hit the notification bell so you get notified when we upload new videos.
Hey guys, sorry for the interruption. My shirt fell off because I'm that excited to tell you about our upcoming virtual retreat from July 22nd to July 24th that is guaranteed to knock your socks off. Now, if you're wanting a strategy that will guarantee lower blood glucose, permanent weight loss, lower blood pressure, and a better quality of life, then trust me when I say you're gonna want to attend this virtual retreat. More than 50% of the people who come through any of our retreats literally cry at the end of the retreat, and they're shedding tears about how excited they are to have a strategy that can help them move into their new life with less disease, less frustration, less medication, and more fun. For details, visit masteringdiabetes.org/retreats to grab your ticket today. There's only 150 spots available, and we're very confident that this bad boy is going to sell out, and it's going to sell out very soon. Hopefully, we'll see you on the inside. Now, back to our regularly scheduled content.
So next up is time to learn about what foods you can enjoy. When you are first diagnosed, it can feel like your plate is being emptied of all your favorite foods. This is because living with type 2 diabetes will mean that certain parts of your lifestyle will have to change, but it doesn't have to leave you feeling defeated. Instead, your new approach to reverse insulin resistance and reverse type 2 diabetes in the majority of cases can involve finding new favorites you didn't know you loved. Food can be powerful medicine, so it's important to find a diet that works for you and not just your health, but your happiness too. Here are a few tips for finding foods that you can enjoy. Let's start with the list of foods that you can have. So often when someone is newly diagnosed with diabetes, they run to the list of foods they can no longer eat. Instead of focusing on that list, let's head over to the list of foods that you can happily enjoy. We recommend that you get a minimum of 70% of your calories from the carbohydrates found in whole foods. So that's gonna be fruits, that's gonna be starchy vegetables, that's gonna be legumes, and that's gonna be intact whole grains. That's where you're gonna get your majority of your carbohydrates from, and that's going to create the bulk of your caloric intake. The remaining portion of your calories will come from fat and protein, which is also going to be included in the whole foods that you'll be consuming. Does this sound restrictive? You might think that, but there are countless plant-based recipes that might just change your mind. When you see the abundance of foods you can enjoy, it opens up a whole new world of possibilities. And it's not just options to celebrate. You can also celebrate no more portion control. The green light foods we mentioned above, these are again, fruits, starchy vegetables, legumes, intact whole grains. These are foods that you can eat in abundance. We're entirely serious here. These foods are so good for you that you can eat them until you're full, whenever you want, and they're always going to support your health. Next up, let's talk about the foods that are on the sometimes list. We call these yellow light foods. Yellow light foods are foods that are okay to include in small quantities because they are slightly processed, have a higher fat content, or contain large amounts of added salt. They shouldn't be daily staples, but are still considered a healthy choice. Yellow light foods include whole grain or bean pastas, whole grain bread and tortillas, avocados, nuts, seeds, coconut meat, edamame, tempeh, and tofu. Knowing your yellow light foods will allow you to have some freedom as you adjust to a new way of eating. And something else that can help is to work with a Mastering Diabetes personal coach. When you start a new type 2 diabetes journey, it can be hard to find the right foods for your specific situation. Working with a Mastering Diabetes personal coach allows you to build a program that is fit to your needs and helps to make sure that the foods you are enjoying benefit you. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But for now, leave a comment as to some of the biggest issues that have been challenging for you. You'd be surprised how many people out there are struggling with the same things. Step 4, let's talk about the impact of physical activity on type 2 diabetes. Your next step when getting a type 2 diabetes diagnosis is to add a fitness routine. This is because when you exercise, cells in your muscle increase their energy requirements, which in turn increases their glucose requirements. When your cells increase their energy demands, excess triglyceride is burned inside muscle cells, which in turn increases their responsiveness to insulin. It's a great positive feedback loop. Still, starting to add in physical activity can feel a bit overwhelming when it feels like you're changing your whole life at once. So here are a few simple ways to add in physical activity to your daily life. Let's start with small, attainable goals. When you are newly diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, it can be tempting to go all in on everything to change your life. Well, this can be great. It can also leave you feeling like you are overwhelmed and want to quit completely. Instead of setting larger than life goals, start with small, attainable goals. This might mean adding in a daily walk that is longer than you might normally walk, or working out an hour in the gym once a week. The goal will be to increase your activity level over time, but sometimes it helps to start with small, attainable goals and work your way up. We also recommend that you set goals that honor your current abilities. When adding new physical activity into your life, doing too much can actually work against your health or lead to injuries. It can help to meet with a trainer or speak with your doctor about realistic goals you can set based on your current abilities. The goal is to increase your activity level. If taking a half a mile walk every day is a push beyond your normal, start there. You may eventually be doing more strength training or have the ability to handle more involved cardio workouts. For now though, start where you are and focus on growing your abilities a bit at a time. And now on to step 5. The most important step of all is to remember that you can do it. This can all seem like a lot, but a diagnosis of type 2 diabetes is not a reason to panic. After all, the science is clear. If you respond to type 2 diabetes quickly and take the right steps, you can completely reverse insulin resistance and in many cases, fully reverse type 2 diabetes. And if you're looking for someone to guide you on your journey, you can get all the steps in our DIY program or work with an expert diabetes coach through small group coaching or one-on-one coaching. In order to find out which option is best for you, we suggest booking a free discovery call. Simply click the link below and you'll be directed to a page where you can book a time that works for you to speak with a member of the Mastering Diabetes enrollment team. And if you're interested in learning more about some steps you can take to reduce your blood sugar quickly, you can check out our article on 7 tools to reduce your blood sugar quickly. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.